With the NCAA's latest transfer portal preparing to close, it's time for another WVU football transfer portal update here on the Country Roads webcast. Let's go. What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads webcast. And before I get into this video, just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit that like button, give us a thumbs up on this video. It'll really help not only this video's performance, but future videos performances here on the channel as well. And if you're a West Virginia fan and you haven't already, be sure hit that subscribe button. Helps us and it helps you as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, so as I mentioned in the cold open to the video, it's been a little bit since I've done a transfer portal update here on the channel, and in that time, West Virginia's had a couple departures as well as an addition, so I'm going to cover both of those in this video, just kind of do a WVU football transfer roundup here. So let's start right away with the departures first. All right, first up, as you see in this article over on WVSportsNow.com, written by Mike Ostie, West Virginia losing a now bandit Aric Burton to the transfer portal. Interestingly enough, I just recently been talking about Aric Burton a little bit here in the spring because he had moved over to the bandit position where he kind of factored in on the defensive line in the past. We thought he may end up as a defensive end. 6'5", a little bit undersized when he came in. It bulked up to over 200 pounds, now over 210, I believe. Yeah, as you see there in the article, 212 pounds. But one of West Virginia's international players, Aric Burton, hailing from Germany originally, came to the Mountaineers, had put on size, and now they had moved him over to the bandit position this spring, where we know West Virginia currently only really has 2 scholarship players working there, those being Jared Bartlett and true freshman James Hurd, who the coaching staff has high expectations for. But with those being the only 2 pieces there, I thought that Burton had finally found a way for him to be a depth piece on the defense that could potentially find a way to get some snaps this fall. However, turns out that will not be the case, as he indicated just a couple days ago that he would be entering the transfer portal, announcing this on his social media there, as you see on Twitter, at Burton Aric. There is his graphic and his statement there. If you want to go take a look at that over on his Twitter, you can. But like I said, purely a depth piece that the Mountaineers are losing here. Only saw action in the games West Virginia played against FCS opponents in the past couple of seasons since he's been here. I believe he was only a redshirt freshman, so still 4 years of eligibility remaining for one of West Virginia's international players now hitting the portal, and Aric Burton. You hate to see that departure, but wish him the best moving forward. West Virginia suffered another departure on the defensive side of the football, this one coming from the defensive backfield. Let's take a look at this one. As you see here, Caleb Coleman, another depth piece on the West Virginia defense, although one that has seen more playing time in the past couple of seasons for the Mountaineers in that secondary, where they've had to rely on some pieces down the depth chart due to injuries and departures and things like that in unexpected situations. And he was one that has kind of played a little bit there at the cat safety position for the Mountaineers during those times. But he also has decided to enter the transfer portal, you see from this article also on WVSportsNow.com. This one coming from Ethan Bach here, in which he shares Caleb Coleman's statement that he shared on Twitter as well, which you can find on Twitter at CalebCT20, and then the number 20 there, as you see if you're watching here, as he shared his statement entering the transfer portal also with 3 years of eligibility left in his case. And he did appear in a few games, as I said, 8 games over the past 2 seasons after redshirting in 2021, played in 5 games last season, recorded 4 total tackles here at WVU. So another depth piece the Mountaineers lose in the secondary, but we know that they are already adding some others. They have some committed that we've covered here on the channel before. Be sure and check those out if you haven't already. I'll put a card for the latest video of a defensive back transfer that we've got right here. You can click on that up in the top of your screen. You'll see that pop up if you want to check that out if you haven't already. But the Mountaineers are also targeting other defensive backs in the transfer portal. More on that momentarily when I discuss the transfer additions West Virginia is looking to add. But before we do that, let's take a look at a player that the Mountaineers have already had commit here in the past couple of days on the defensive side. Coincidentally enough, filling right in where these 2 losses have occurred, West Virginia adds one to that side of the ball as well here at a position of need here, as they need help along the edge. They get an edge rusher here coming from a lower division school. Let's take a look at the recent addition for the Mountaineers, Tyrin Bradley. All right, so as I stated, Tyrin Bradley committing to the Mountaineers just a couple of days ago. Another win for the West Virginia Mountaineers in the transfer portal, this coming on the same day today is the news of Caleb Coleman leaving West Virginia. I believe this news came in of the commitment of Tyrin Bradley. You see this article on WVSportsNow.com, again from Mike Oste. 6'4", 255-pound edge rusher the Mountaineers add. We know they need help both at defensive end. They could add depth there, but we also, as I just mentioned when talking about Aric Burton, know that West Virginia needs spots at the bandit position, and I would not be surprised to see Tyrin Bradley factor in to the bandit equation at West Virginia next season when you're looking at the 2023 roster. We'll see if he ends up putting his hand in the dirt as more of a defensive end or as a bandit, but he's going to help the Mountaineers right away, regardless of either one of those that the coaching staff chooses him to play there. He's going to be a great addition for the Mountaineers, as you see here detailed in this piece from Mike Oste. As you see, the commitment there from Tyrin Bradley on his Twitter. And if you guys want to go follow him on Twitter, Mountaineer Nation, you can there at Tyrin Bradley 1. As I said, coming from Abilene Christian, 47 total tackles last season, 19 of them solo, still 2 years of eligibility remaining. So you love getting those transfers in with multiple years still left to help you out. And also detailed in this article, you can see they shared a video from his Twitter, which shows a few of his highlights. So let's check out a couple of those. We'll watch about 30 seconds or so of this just to get a look at Tyrin Bradley. He's number 0 here in these highlights. You'll see him making plays off the edge there. There he comes in off the edge, chasing down the quarterback, getting a nice sack. You see the closing speed there. You see him getting around the tackle there, the sack and the forced fumble. So that's kind of going to help West Virginia's pass rush. You see it looks like he has great pass rush capabilities, and West Virginia's talked about having more players that are pure pass rushers. There he is making a good play against the run. Here he is again against the run, disengaging the block and making the tackle. And West Virginia needs more players with pass rushing capabilities. That's why they're so excited about James Hurd. There he comes on an inside rush, getting another sack. So there you get a look at a little bit of his highlight plays there from Tyrin Bradley, as you see there from Abilene Christian, 6'3", 250-pound, first team all-conference player there at that level, moving up now to the Power 5 level and hopefully going to help the Mountaineers here coming off the edge. I think he has the capability to really be a good piece for West Virginia this season. As I said, Aric Burton leaving at the bandit position. West Virginia only has 2 scholarship players there, so he could potentially help there, or he could help at defensive end, where West Virginia needs more depth there along the defensive line as well. Personally, I see him as a bandit, but either way, a good pickup for the Mountaineers. Let's take a look at our transfer portal tracker here on the Country Roads webcast and add him to our transfers in list. All right, if you've been following us here on the Country Roads webcast throughout the offseason, you, of course, are familiar with this list, our offseason transfer portal tracker. We've been trying to update this Google Doc throughout the offseason, as West Virginia has had both transfers in and transfers out. As you see, the latest transfer in now added to the list, Tyrin Bradley, the subject of this video, of course, along with the other subjects, the latest transfers out for West Virginia, Caleb Coleman and Aric Burton, joining Jalen Shelton as the only transfers out for West Virginia thus far in this transfer portal window, which closes today, the day that I'm releasing this video. So hopefully we won't hear of any late departures for West Virginia. Sometimes it takes a second for that paperwork to get in. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll know for sure if West Virginia suffered any more departures. But knock on wood right now, no huge losses. A lot of the pieces that West Virginia lost here during this cycle were only depth pieces, no real starters or guys that were probably going to be in your 2 deep. So that's good news so far. As far as players West Virginia is targeting here, of course, on this transfer thing, I've been trying to update this as well, as scholarship offers have gone out to potential transfers, and if players that West Virginia has offered have committed to other schools. This is kind of what it's looking like currently. I think West Virginia has about 3 or 4 scholarships left as it stands right now. I think they're at about 80 or 81 scholarships. They have 85, of course, and that fluctuates with transfers out and transfers in, of course. But West Virginia has offered these players. I've talked about a lot of these in the past. You see the 2 wide receivers, the tight end, the offensive lineman, which I've heard that offensive lineman may be down to a couple other schools, but not taking him off yet because he hasn't officially committed. The defensive lineman West Virginia is after. Of course, you've seen all of these. I think the only addition to this list lately is Robbie Harrison of Arizona State. Linebacker, I expect West Virginia to target more players. I believe they actually have a Division II player on a visit as I'm recording this video, but they haven't offered him yet, so I haven't added him to the video. video. West Virginia's been trying their best to keep it quiet with some of these transfers and not offering them until they get them in on a visit in some cases, and that's been an effective strategy for them. So they're going to continue to do that, I think, in most cases in which they can. And then the defensive backs they're targeting, of course, we've talked about Anthony Wilson will be a great addition to the safety room for West Virginia. Miles Rouser, another safety as well from Campbell. The others, likely more corners. Who knows, though? West Virginia has moved corners to safeties in the past, but West Virginia will definitely add at least one of those defensive backs. I'm sure West Virginia needs to add more to the secondary. We know we've got Beanie Bishop coming in as we scroll back up to our transfers in list. Of course, that's the video that I linked here earlier when I went through and told you guys you can click on that if you want West Virginia to add Beanie Bishop, Jalen Ellis, a wide receiver from Baylor, and now Tyrin Bradley, the transfer from Abilene Christian, as the latest transfers in there for the Mountaineers. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation. A bit of a WVU football transfer roundup from us here at the Country Roads webcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully the Mountaineers are able to land some of those transfers that they've offered that I updated there in the latter portion of that video. But what do you think of the addition of Tyrin Bradley? Do you think he'll be more of a defensive end or a bandit? And what do you think of the job that West Virginia's done thus far in the offseason in the transfer portal? However you're feeling there, be sure and let us know down in the comments. We really appreciate the interaction as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.